Chair would observe that we have a quorum in the room. We haven't gathered at the front here, but just as soon as we can get a quorum up front here, we'll go ahead and have the clerk call the roll. Won't come up, okay? All right. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Good morning, everyone. We have a pretty heavy docket this morning and a little bit of change that we're going to have to put forth. For those who signed up, we're going to get to our sign-up list as quickly as possible. We've got, I think, 3 members of our committee that are going to be leaving for a commitment that they were obligated for. So with the indulgence of our patrons sitting out here waiting, and Senator Black, you're at the top of the list when we come back to it, but I'm going to have to run a couple of the committee members through that are going to leave. Senator Dance, you have Senate Bill 1196.
Okay. Try it again. Mr. Chair, this is a little small bill that the commissioners, and I have from my area, actually I have one here from Chesterfield and one from Dinwiddie County, but they noticed that when addressing the real estate property that for those elderly and disabled that meet the criteria that they have farming land, and it's like they might have a shed or something on the property that they're being taxed for that shed. And so, and some of them might have more than one shed or whatever on that, but that is something that the Commissioner of Revenues, when they do the taxing, have been charging them. So they've asked us to add this little amendment that would say that it allows them up to 5 acres of land and it's not being used for any commercial or business type opportunities, that they be able to consider it as a part of the property and not tax them separately for that particular dwelling that sits on the property.
Senator Dance, would this remain local option? This would just allow them to do that?
Yes. So there are 2 commissioners here, one from Chesterfield, one from Dinwiddie, if you need them to explain why they wanted this.
Okay, and we may not need that explanation if there's no one here to oppose that. The bill seems to be in pretty good shape. But we would, if we'd like to recognize those commissioners, though, if they are.
Would you?
Okay, from which localities?
This is Dinwiddie County and this is Chesterfield County.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here opposed to this bill?
Move to report, Mr. Chairman.
Motion properly supported to report the bill. That is Senate Bill 1196. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Okay, clerk close the roll.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill is reported, Senator Dance. Was that your only bill today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Senator Donovan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may beg the indulgence of the committee, I have a constituent I'd like to speak to, Senate Bill 1608, and if that may go by for the day so that she can speak next week, I'd be very grateful.
Okay. Is there a motion that 1608 be passed by for the day? Motion properly supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That bill is passed by for the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 1258 is a bill that talks about behaviorists in our schools. This is a really essential part of addressing the specific needs of our students and our teachers to ensure that the teachers have expertise to help them develop the ability to manage their classroom when there are difficult behavior issues. In talking to the teachers in my district, this is the #1 ask they have over everything else. so that they can be effective in their classrooms and manage the children that are there. I understand that the budget is not quite what it appears to be, and that this budget amendment would be significant. And therefore, I am proposing a substitute that just includes behavior analysts in the SOQ, so that that is an expertise and a license that they can hire to fill those spots. But as we go forward, I hope that we can have a conversation about support personnel in the schools and maybe subdividing that appropriation into those that are actually meeting the direct needs of the children, social workers, counselors, behavioral analysts, school nurses, et cetera, and then the others. And if we could allow the schools some freedom to fund those positions, we would have more flexibility in meeting some of the needs of our kids.
Okay, Senator Donovan, do you want us to adopt the substitute?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the substitute? Motion properly supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Senator
That
Donovan?
makes this have no fiscal impact, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, run that by me again, why this would cause not to have a fiscal impact.
Because this just simply makes the license of a behavioral analyst an approved hire for a school to use as one of their support personnel, but does not direct them to hire them at any particular ratio.
Okay, Senator Newman?
Mr. Chairman, I talked to the patron about this while this bill was in education, and as you know, it had about a $15 million before, but now we found that these behavior analysts actually have a great deal of value, but we may not be able to support putting them in the budget. I would support putting some in the budget, but I think the substitute solves the financial problem. I hope we'd move forward with the bill.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this bill? Motion properly supported, the Senate Bill 1258 amendment in nature substitute be reported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Clerk close the roll.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported. Thank you, Senator Donovan. As y'all exit, be sure to leave a proxy. Senator Norman. Yes. You got one, okay. Huh? Is this a token you're bringing up? Oh, good, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and for those patrons who are waiting, I apologize that some of the Senate members on finance are being called first, but three of us are on a panel with the Chamber of Commerce at their annual meeting, and that's why the courtesy is being extended, so I apologize to you. Mr. Chairman, I have Senate Bill 1370, please, sir.
All right, Senate Bill 1370.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee, Senate Bill 1370 is a bill that is well known to you in concept, and this is the incentive package from Micron that we have previously committed to. This is a memorialization of it and confirming that which we have already done. There are lots of things that I can tell you about Micron. We all know that they're an innovative memory solutions approach in the largest memory country in the world. After a comparative analysis, they decided to do their $3 billion expansion in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They have committed in the city of Manassas to employ and increase 1,100 new jobs by 2030 that are going to have an average salary of $92,000 with an approximate 3% annual increase. As far as the incentive package, $50 million would be paid in FY 2020 and FY 21, but Micron is being required to pay a portion of these grant payments if it does not meet either the job creation, the wage, or the payroll requirements. There's an interesting twist to all this in the Memorandum of Understanding, or the MOU, that the Commonwealth negotiated with Micron. It requires Micron to deposit an amount equal to the grant payment into an escrow account, and consequently, the company may only withdraw that money from the escrow account if it meets these metrics or these performance guidelines. So that is a safeguard that is built in there. There are many folks that are here to support it, but that's the bill, and I think one or two individuals would just like to stand up and say, we are enthusiastically supportive, but that's the bill, sir.
Thank you, Senator Norman. And we have individuals here that want to be recognized in support of this. Oh, Secretary, good to have you here this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Brian Ball, Secretary of Commerce and Trade, and Senator Norman captured all the material elements of the bill, and we stand four square in support of it. I want to thank members of MEI that considered this bill as we worked on it over a many-month period for their support. I want to thank Stephen Murray and his staff at VEDP for their support, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions any members have, sir.
Okay. Members have questions? I think we're clear on it.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Mindy, good to see you here this morning.
Good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Mindy Carlin. I represent the Northern Virginia Chamber Partnership, and we are supportive of this bill as well. Thank you.
Okay, very good. I think members of the committee are well aware that this was a project that was vetted by the MEI Commission. We are essentially, if we approve this, obligated to the two payments of 50 and 20 million. The governor proposed taking it out of the reserve. There are some of us that think we probably just need to face the fact that we got to pay it, and we'll act accordingly. What's the pleasure of the committee? Senator Barker?
Just quickly, Mr. Chair, Senator Stewart and I are the two members of this committee who represent Prince William County on the in the General Assembly here. I would like to say that Micron has been an outstanding corporate partner throughout and for many years, and is providing opportunity and is providing high-income jobs in an area that can benefit from it substantially. And I appreciate the senator from James City County bringing $3.1 billion to Manassas. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would say I only carry legislation for excellent partners.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this bill? Motion to report. Is there a second? I would only observe with Prince William connections, Senator Barker, that 11 members of my family live in Prince William, and I have a grandson who plays baseball adjacent to this plant. Four. Okay. Is he playing baseball? Yeah. Okay. All right. We have a motion properly supported. Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Norman. Senator Wagner fits onto that category as well. Unfortunately, Senator Black, we got you queued up here. We'll move her quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have Senate Bill 1393. You may recall that we passed a major shipyard grant program if they hit certain job thresholds and made a $750 million capital investment from a major shipyard and also created at least 1,000 jobs. I'm pleased to tell you, Mr. Chairman, that they are way ahead of schedule. That in fact, what it was a series of grants that was supposed to be available, and they've asked that it be accelerated from 2023 to 2027 was when the grants were going to be made available. We're asking that be rolled back to 2021 through 2025. So there's no real policy change. It's only an acceleration. Mr. Chairman, that is good news because of the actions we've taken, but more importantly, the capital investments that Huntington Ingalls has made in their shipyard, and the Navy's decision to accelerate submarine construction program has brought along a tremendous job creation in terms of supporting both the replacement of the nuclear ballistic missile submarines as well as an accelerated schedule for what the Navy refers to as attack boats, or these are submarines that go along with that. They're basically doubling the production rate. Due to that, we're asking that the grant program that we previously authorized be accelerated by 2 years to make the funds available to support these programs. That's all the bill does, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Wagner. Anyone here to confirm that or want to speak in support of the bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brian Ball, Secretary of Commerce and Trade. this is another wonderful corporate citizen in Virginia, and we're fully supportive of this measure.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cosgrove?
Mr. Chairman, Tom Cosgrove, Newport News Shipbuilding. Senator Wagner's done a very good job explaining this bill. One additional point to make is that even accelerating the grants, it would still mean that the first grant would not be paid in the current biennium. This is all still money that would come in the future. Beyond that, I'd just like to thank this committee and thank the General Assembly for the commitment that you showed by granting these incentives to begin with. They were very helpful to us when the incentives were first initiated. We had no share of the Columbia-class submarine project at all, and it was really the combined commitment between the state, the city, and the company that allowed us to win that contract and create these jobs. We appreciate the commitment you all made. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill or further comments? Certainly, I think this bill is a reflection of a success story on this particular endeavor. We are previously committed to the funding of these incentive grants. So what's the pleasure of the committee?
Move to report.
Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1393. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll.
Wait a second. Thank you.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15. Ayes 15, no zero. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Wagner. Okay, that clears the bills where there was a conflict of members to leave. Senator Black.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be fairly brief with this. I think you're all familiar with the bill. It's constitutional concealed carry. Basically says that you can carry a firearm concealed anywhere that you could lawfully carry one openly. The only fiscal impact that I know of is that there will be some positive impact on localities because they'll have a lesser workload than they have today. I think it's a good measure. I think it advances the Second Amendment. I've got one speaker that would like to just weigh in on it, if I could.
Mr. Chair, Philip Van Cleve, VCDL. Yeah, we strongly support the measure. When the whole idea of a fee for getting a concealed carry permit came up, it was to cover the cost, that the Commonwealth wasn't going to cover that. And the money wasn't meant to be part of a slush fund for anybody. It was meant to cover the cost. So if there's more people or less, it automatically adjusts. But anyhow, we do support the bill.
Okay, thank you. Senator Black, do you have any others here to speak?
No, I think that's it.
Okay,
I think
all right.
there's someone from the administration who might.
Okay, so is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill?
I have a question before.
Okay, Senator Carrico.
Not that I don't support the idea. How does that impact the agreements that we have, that we worked on with all the other states that honor concealed weapons when you go into that state?
It'll still be possible to get a concealed carry permit through the existing process, and there will be some people who want it. We got a lot of people who go to Florida or Texas or
Right.
wherever, and they would like to have that permit because it's required down there. So that will remain in place, but it's just there'll be a whole lot less volume moving through that local system than presently.
So it doesn't, Mr. Chairman, it doesn't affect the fact that if you still want a concealed carry permit in this state, you can go get one, and that'll give you the ability to carry it in the states that honor your state's concealed weapon.
That's exactly correct. So we'll still have reciprocity, and all of the other firearms laws remain in place. For example, felons are not permitted to carry firearms. Sure. They can't carry them openly. They can't carry them concealed. So the whole framework stays in place, except that it's not necessary to get a permit if you would be authorized to carry openly, as one of our members here in the Senate does. So.
Okay. an opportunity for those that might be opposed to this legislation.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members. Ryan Washington, Deputy Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security. The administration strongly opposes this bill.
Okay. Others to speak? Okay, hearing none, what's the pleasure of the committee?
Second.
Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1158. Senator Black, I will just make one comment as we do this. As you're aware, I generally support your legislation and am very strongly supportive of Second Amendment rights, but I've opposed this in the past because I think many of us have worked on having a good concealed carry statute in place in Virginia, and I would like to protect that. So I just have a little difference of opinion on that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 8, no 6.
Ayes 8, no 6. The bill is reported.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
That's all I
Senator.
have.
Thank you, Senator Black. Senator Chase.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Senate Bill 1018 was actually a request by our registrars. This bill is a request by the Vice Chair of the State Board of Elections, and it is to ensure that our local registrar is working off the same exact maps as the State Board of Elections and the Department of Elections to avoid voters being given improper ballots in the future. These maps are currently available to the Department of Elections, and they can send them electronically to the registrars. It will be up to the registrars to ensure that the GIS maps from the Department of Elections match their maps and their district and the details. And the request is for $50,000. And with that, I would also, if it pleases the chairman, I have Clarabelle Wheeler, who is able to answer any questions.
Okay. Be pleased to hear from Ms. Wheeler.
Thank you, Senator.
Good morning.
Good morning. Clarabelle Wheeler, Vice Chair of the State Board. 2 years ago, as many of you remember, we had a real problem in several localities with voters being populated incorrectly. And the problem of GIS accessibility was raised not only in that locality, but in many other localities. There are many localities that have fine, wonderful, in-house GIS equipment, and they can function just fine. There are many localities, and I was just talking with the able registrar from Wise County discussing far southwest. They have great GIS, but their surrounding counties do not have it, and it's left to the local authority to provide it. This bill that Senator Chase is providing would allow the Department of Elections to provide GIS for all localities so our populations can be mapped and put on grids appropriately for voting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Others to speak in support of this measure? Anyone here in opposition to this measure? Senator Chase, we are showing some cost to this. It appears like it would be a good initiative, but I would think it would be appropriate to put the clause on this. Motion properly supported to add the financial contingency clause to see if we can fund this, particularly since Senator Vogel's absent from the table heading the P&E committee. I'd like for her to take a look at this
Very good.
as well for the funding purposes. Did we vote on that? All in favor of that attaching the clause signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that is attached. What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1018 as amended. Further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, excuse me here. I need to do one more here. Yeah, I got it.
Very good.
15 no 0.
Okay, ayes 15, no 0. The bill. Thank you, Senator Chase. Senator Reeves.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if we could, before we get started on Senate Bill 1091, I have an amendment in the nature of a substitute that I think Lisa has to pass out to the committee. If we could take that up first.
I'll move the amendment in nature substitute be adopted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adopting the substitute signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have in front of us and being distributed the substitute.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be very, very quick on this. This substitute now somewhat aligns with a bill that Senator Stanley has. It's being heard in local government. My original bill had to do. It is very germane to the substitute as well, just a different route to get to a surety bond. With the chairman's permission, I would like it to get re-referred back to local government so I can have an opportunity to meet with Senator Stanley and some of the other stakeholders in this and come to an agreement.
Senator Reeves, I think that is a good request because the bill as introduced, we were having a little issue with it up here, but with the substitute, we probably should have a good look at that in all fairness to your bill, and maybe you have something that will work now. So,
yes, sir.
The Chair would entertain a motion to re-refer this to local government. Motion properly supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Oh, excuse me. That requires a roll call. Clerk, open the roll. Yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting that. The clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Reeves. Senator Boysko.
Pardon me.
Okay, Senator Boysko, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Ready?
We're ready.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, today I present SB 1715, the Dignity Act, to add menstrual supplies to the list of miscellaneous exemptions to the retail and sales and use tax. As you are aware, menstruation is a normal bodily function which requires the use of menstrual supplies for approximately 40 years of a woman's life. Using menstrual supplies is a necessary thing for women to leave their homes and for work and school. Taxing menstrual supplies unfairly penalizes women by taxing an essential item that only women and girls need. 14 other states to date have abolished this tax so far, and it's currently being debated in 24 other state legislators right now. This is the third time I presented this bill, and it has gained an increasingly large level of support throughout Virginia. I believe it's time that we make this change. Adding to the list of exemptions would obviously decrease the revenues collected by the state, but this would be the 21st item on a full list of exemptions, some of which are arguably less essential than menstrual supplies. 50% of our population relies on these products once a month for 40 years of their life. It's not a luxury. Taxing menstrual products is essentially classifying a product that is necessary to the health and welfare of half of the population as a luxury. This is an opportunity to show respect and understanding for women and the realities we face. Healthy women who are not burdened by expensive necessities will have money to spend on rightfully taxed goods in our Commonwealth. The retailers have spoken with me and have asked only that the enactment date be moved to July 2020, and I have Secretary Lane here also to speak upon the bill. I hope it is the pleasure of the committee to report it to the Senate.
Senator Norman.
Mr. Chairman, I understand the bill, and I think that it's worthy of some consideration, but because of the fiscal impact on it, I think it'd be appropriate to put the Senate Finance contingency clause on it, and would so move.
Okay. Motion properly supported to add the financial contingency clause. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. What about the delayed effective date? We want to go ahead and take care of that now as well, she suggested. Yes, Mr. Secretary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in support of this on behalf of two parties. First, the governor of Virginia strongly supports this legislation and has appropriately put the $3.85 million impact into the budget. Second, an unnamed young lady that goes to Achievable Dream High School that I had the unfortunate episode to deal with. One of our students, as you know, that's a public-private partnership that deals with the most at-risk people in our schools. This young lady did not have the appropriate monies to do this. And therefore, we have added that to the list of whether the things the school buys on behalf of these students who can't afford this, and it is a part of basic necessity. So that would just lessen the burden for our school in terms of buying these supplies. So I speak in support of that young lady also. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have, there was a suggestion. Had you agreed to that suggestion of the delayed implementation?
Yes, absolutely.
To
Yes, sir.
January 1st or where?
July 1st, 2020.
July 1st,
Yes, sir.
2020. Does anyone care to offer that amendment? Motion properly supported for the delayed effective date, July 1st of 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, that amendment is adopted. Others to speak for or against this measure? For? Just briefly, I believe, would be fine.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Taylor, and I'll be speaking on behalf of the Virginia Menstrual Equity Coalition. I'm also the founder of Sylvia Sisters, a nonprofit that provides feminine hygiene products to schoolgirls in needs through the communities and schools of Richmond, Chesterfield County, and Petersburg. And I support this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your concise message.
Chairman of Committee, I'm Chris Katropi. I'm a law professor at the University of Richmond, and I've researched in this area of the impact of exempting sales tax on menstrual hygiene products. And in a co-study with a person at the University of Chicago, we found that when New Jersey did this in 2005, not only did consumers enjoy the benefit of the drop of not having the tax there, actually for lower income individuals, it actually doubled the drop in the price of the product that was there. And so I think that this bill actually has a unique potential benefit for low income individuals. The other thing I'd like to mention is the cross-border follow-on sale impact. As you know from the financial report, there are 2 bordering jurisdictions that already exempt these products. Maryland and now DC has actually funded that exemption. We know that large parts of our Commonwealth border those states. And as we know, people will go to the other side of the street to get lower gas. They'll cross that border to not pay that tax, right? And they don't just cross the border to not buy the menstrual hygiene product, right? They also buy follow-on goods when you go to the grocery store. So there's another financial impact to this type of legislation that we'd be able to get those sales back and maybe steal some sales from North Carolina and West Virginia. And thus I support this legislation. Thank you, committee.
Thank you. And we'll hear from one more person.
Hello, I'm Catherine Reed. I'm here representing BRAS, bringing resources to aid women's shelters. I've lived in Virginia for 57 years, and for 40 of those 57 years paid this tax, as my own daughters do here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Back in my generation, we didn't even know the term menstrual equity. We didn't question the status quo, but we're questioning it now because there's no reason that half the population of Virginia should be putting $3.8 million into Virginia's coffers based on buying products that it's required for us to have to effectively participate in school, in work, and in social life. I do think this bill will be passed. This is a tax that will be repealed, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and by whom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, does that complete? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Senator Boysko, I say you've had a unique opportunity. A lot of people who can't get their bills out of the House, they give up, but then you came over to the Senate, so you came directly to us. Senator Norman.
Mr. Chairman, even though the reference that New Jersey is a model to this, I'll move that we report the bill as amended.
Motion, is there a second? Second. Motion properly supported that the bill, that is Senate Bill 1715 as amended, be reported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Clerk close the roll.
Ayes 13, noes 1, 1 abstention.
Ayes 13, noes 1 abstention. The bill is reported. Senator Boysko, do you have another bill today?
I do have another bill, but I was told that it's going to be re-referred. It's the
Mr.
driver's
Chairman.
license.
Senator Newman?
The in-state tuition bill.
Yes, well, right. Well, we need to take action on that, so that's
Okay.
what, Senator Newman, is that what you?
Did you want me to present it again, or?
Doesn't need to be represented,
Okay.
Senator Newman could speak to it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the Committee on Education and Health had sent over the in-state tuition bill. We have now looked at the financial impacts and think that we understand those and don't believe there's substantial financial impact. And as a result, I would move that we re-refer Senate Bill 1040 back to the Committee on Education and Health.
Is there a second? Motion properly supported to refer the bill back to Education, Senate Bill 1640. Further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. clerk close the roll?
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no zero. That bill is re-referred.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Senator
it.
Boysko. Senator Eben.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
thank you.
Chairman. I brought a witness who will be more illuminating than I will, but I did want to just set the stage about the taxing of electronic cigarettes and related products
Okay.
in terms of delivery systems. This bill would create a tax on e-cigarettes and similar products, vapor products as they're known, and authorizes cities and towns to do the same in the same manner that they do that for tobacco tax. Right now, we've been taxing tobacco in Virginia at 30 cents a pack and doing that for quite some time. Probably longer than I've been alive, we've had a tobacco tax. Now, nicotine has effects, which you find in cigarettes, but you also find in these e-cigarettes, on learning, memory, and brain plasticity. We know that with adolescents, it's even worse. When they're younger in age, there's noticeably reduced development in the part of the brain responsible for a young person's cognitive behavior, decision-making, leading to increased sensitivity to other drugs and greater impulsivity. We know that installing a tax will decrease the use of the product. And Juuls, which is the most common form of e-cigarettes, they're really easy to conceal when you're in a classroom. They even have kids now taking hoodies, and they string it through the hoodie and are smoking in class without the teacher having any idea. And for those who was just watching me, like the committee staff, they probably couldn't see that I just took a drag on this e-cigarette. And it's really easy to do, whether in the workplace, in the school classrooms, or otherwise. And I got to tell you, it didn't feel that good to me. This is my first one this morning. But I guess you get used to it and you get this mango flavor more. Although, specifically, what could happen with these is if used, it can cause cough, sore throat, abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting if the exposure is constant, which is the case when using a Juul. I feel a little bit nauseous, but I don't know if it's psychosomatic or not from the one I practiced in my office. Now, teens are vulnerable to this long term. They're addictive, and nicotine is not good for you, bottom line. Unpublished federal data shows that 77% increase in this use of these products among high school students. They're easy to hide, as I said, easy to use, and they're alternatives to quitting. People will claim to you that this is a device to quit tobacco cigarettes. When you use a patch or gum, that can be effective. When you use this, a lot of kids are using it, a lot of adults are using it. They're not all trying to quit, and this does not help you quit. One person who's very important to me took it, and they claimed that it was to quit, and they're having a hard time with this, they said, more than with tobacco. So Natalie Ham, who's from the Oncology Nursing Society and has worked in health policy, she's been at UNC, she's a clinician at NIH, she's with the American Cancer Society. She's much more expert than I and could address your questions and has some things she'd like to say.
Okay, thank you, Senator Abbott. We'd be pleased to hear from you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Natalie Ham, and it's a pleasure and honor today for me to testify as an oncology nurse in Arlington, Virginia, and as a member of the Oncology Nursing Society's Health Policy National Committee. With 22 years of educational, professional, and clinical experience, I speak on behalf of the Oncology Nursing Society about the growing epidemic of electronic cigarettes and the growing issue of youth vaping. Electronic nicotine delivery devices, such as Senator Eben presented, are advertised as a safe alternative to tobacco products and as a smoking cessation tool. Electronic nicotine devices contain a range of toxic substances that are known to cause heart and lung disease. One such product has a technical and design breakthrough, as Senator Eben presented, that looks like a USB flash drive, delivers nicotine in a manner that is smooth, not harsh. Each of its pods, importantly, provides as much nicotine as an entire pack of cigarettes. E-cigarettes have surpassed combustible or traditional cigarettes as the most commonly used tobacco product among U.S. middle and high school students reporting tobacco use. As of 2017, more than 2 million teens are using these products. E-cigarette aerosol contains harmful constituents, including nicotine. Nicotine can actually rewire the brain to crave more nicotine, and research suggests these changes could be permanent. Emerging evidence suggests e-cigarette use may be harmful to the lungs as well. At Yorktown High School in Arlington, Northern Virginia, that's the high school my daughter will be attending, there are so many teens vaping or caught smoking e-cigarettes on campus each week that their suspension is common. High school substance abuse counselors and parents consider the e-cigarette, especially those with the fruity, smooth flavors, as extremely addictive because they're so high in nicotine. Because it's high in nicotine, these electronic devices, are very addictive for this vulnerable teen population. So I urge you to consider the negative health consequences of the nicotine vapor products I've presented today and the positive implications Senator Evans' bill could have for not just students, but the general public in Virginia. Thank you for your interest and your consideration this morning.
Thank you very much for being here. Okay, Senator Evans?
Yeah, I just wanted to add two things I forgot to say. One is that the tax proposed in this bill is dedicated revenue to school counselors, which are woefully underfunded. Right now, there's a ratio of 350 counselors to 350 students to one counselor. And of course, we know the counselors are tied to better mental health outcomes and school safety. And additionally, the additional portion is dedicated to Quit Now Virginia, which is our tobacco cessation program hotline. And that receives only $400,000 annually. That's from federal funding, receives no state funding, unlike what's recommended for best practices for comprehensive tobacco control programs by the CDC. And last I'll say is that the tax rate in there, 40%, that's what Pennsylvania tax is at. Other states tax significantly higher or have a per millimeter tax. And one of the major tobacco cigarette companies that operates in this state had approached me years ago, and I put in the bill offering to support a per milliliter tax. And I turned that down because I don't want to have an artificially low tax that I know we're never going to change. I think a percentage is a better way to go.
Okay.
And we've lost a lot of tobacco tax revenue, as you know, over recent years, especially as the popularity of these have grown.
Right. All right. Thank you. Others to speak in favor? Anyone speaking in opposition? Sir Eben, I would just share one thing, and for the benefit of the committee, as you may be aware, we passed a bill yesterday that came out of the Tax Preference Joint Subcommittee, or we were working on the taxation of tobacco products, and the bill yesterday would allow basically separate classifications for different types of products. The study is ongoing, and it's the intent, as I shared with Senator Carrico earlier when he had a cigarette tax initiative, that we are hopeful that we can come to a consensus for next year. With that in mind, it would seem appropriate, members of the committee, for us to not pass the bill, but to refer it to that committee. You're not on that tax preference, are you?
No, and I'd love to be, but if I'm not, it would be great if staff could notify me of the meetings, because I'd love to see that some stakeholders get a chance to testify, and that I could as well.
Well, I've noticed you seem to get in your legislation testing the product. And we've got some marijuana bills this year. Have you gotten into that?
That's the decriminalization bill that was heard in courts.
Right, okay.
But we're not taxing that. We're still, the revenue from
and you're not sampling the product?
I have not sampled that product. If I ever did, it was before 1985.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I never sampled this till today, though, and I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a second to that? Okay, motion properly supported that the bill be passed by, but referred to the Joint Subcommittee on Tax Preference, and I will try to make sure that you're notified of those meetings so you can at least be in attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, everybody cast? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
Ayes 13, noes 2. The bill is passed by but referred to the Joint Subcommittee.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee.
Thank you, Senator Evans. Senator Edwards.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my third attempt here. This bill was reconsidered last time and put back on the docket.
Is that one Senator Vogel brought by?
Yeah, yes, Senate Bill
She's not
1301.
here, okay.
1301.
If, all right. Do you want, we may want to pass it by if she's not here, if she's a supporter. I know this is going to be a close vote. Your call.
Well, we'll wait for her then.
Okay.
It's a fairly simple bill. I don't know why, there's no organized opposition at all. The sheriffs are not opposing it, for example. Last year's vote they did, but it has to do with the treasurers of currently the treasurers of any locality can employ, with the local government's approval, a private collection agent to assist in suing people for local taxes if they're delinquent for more than 3 months. Of course, notification has to be given of delinquency as well. All this does is add to it or other amounts due to the locality, and there are a lot of amounts due to the locality. Things such as false alarms and fire hazard re-inspections and using off-duty police or sheriffs. Just a whole laundry list of things that are owed to the locality. And that's the reason for this, is assisting the localities in getting people to pay what they owe. Just adding to back local taxes other amounts due to the locality that are delinquent after more than 3 months. That's all it does. If you'd like to wait, that'd be fine. I don't know of any opposition, frankly.
I do know there's some at the table here, so that's what my concern was.
My understanding is some people voted no without understanding it. That's my understanding.
Okay.
But if you want to wait to have Jill Vogel, that'd be fine.
That will be your call.
Yeah, we'll wait.
You'll wait?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Without objection, we'll pass that bill by for the day. Thank you, Senator Edwards. Senator Favola.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Senate Bill 1127. It's a bill you have seen before, and I'm hoping it's going to grow on you in a positive way. This is the equal taxing authority for counties. You know, cities have equal taxing authority. Counties want the ability to access other revenue streams. They're heavily reliant on the real estate tax. And many of you know that one of the revenue streams would be the meals tax. And we have cities within counties that have meals tax authority, and they apply the meals tax, and yet you leave the city, you're still in the county, and you don't have to pay a meals tax, and the county's coming, it's coming up short. And the only other thing I will say is that if jurisdictions are given authority, counties, if they're given authority to tap other revenue streams, they can reduce the real estate tax. I mean, it gives them more options on how they balance their budget, and I know you're all appropriators and you like as many options as possible. So, for a plea for fairness, I would ask that you pass this bill.
Thank you, Senator Favola, for being concise. Those to speak in favor of it, I see Vaco there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members, and I know you're very familiar with this concept, so I'll be very brief. We do strongly support this measure. We appreciate the senator bringing it forward. We do think this is a matter of fundamental fairness. It's a recognition of the fact that what citizens expect from their local governments have changed over time, and that counties are expected to provide a significant number of services. And so we do strongly support this. I'm pleased to report our colleagues at VML are also supportive in the spirit of local government collegiality. So appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. I'm Claudia Arco with Fairfax County. We support it as well. As Ms. Boyle said, we do increasingly more for our schools, for our CSBs, in public safety, where state funding hasn't always kept up. And so we would appreciate the ability to diversify. Thank you.
Thank you. Others, does anyone speak in opposition? I know there would be a number, so if we can be brief with the comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Nicole Raleigh with NFIB, representing Virginia small business owners. We oppose the legislation, have had a long-standing opposition to it, particularly for like our restaurant members and such who do have issues with the meals tax. And for that reason and others, we oppose. Thank you.
Thank you. Morning.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Robert Melvin. I'm here today on behalf of the Virginia Restaurant, Lodging, and Travel Association, and we ask you to oppose this legislation.
Thank you.
Kate Baker on behalf of Virginia Retail Federation. We have a longstanding policy of opposing this legislation.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Andrew Smith, Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. We still have a significant number of tobacco farmers in Virginia and believe this would expand the ability to tax cigarettes and other tobacco products at the local level. We are following the subcommittee that the chair mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Senator Favola. As you're all aware, Senator Favola always does her homework, and she had a constituent, they called me, we got on a conference call talking about the possibilities of passing this year, and we were engaged in the conversation. I was headed to Franklin, Virginia, and there's a roundabout they put in down there, and she was pretty intense with the conversation. Well, I went around the roundabout twice, and then I decided, wait a minute, I need to put you on hold while I figure out how to get off this roundabout, go in the right direction. But the gist of that conversation, Senator Favola, as you recall, was I don't think this is a year yet to do this. We need.
I was trying to persuade you otherwise, but
Right.
that was the gist of the
Right,
conversation.
but that we really need to, hopefully, to queue it up for next year. I think the stars may align as we move over this next year and look forward to working with you. But that's my opinion. What's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a second? Pass by. Okay, there's a motion properly
Is that a
supported.
promise, Mr. Chairman? That
It's a promise that we're going to work on it. I'll work on it with you. I don't know where.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
All right, there's a motion properly supported that we do pass the bill by for the day. And this has caught up some in the tobacco preference joint subcommittee as well, because that's one of the key taxes that local governments would like to have. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, open the roll. Okay, clerk, close your roll.
Ayes 12, noes 3.
Ayes 12, noes 3. We will pass the bill by for the time being. Thank you, Senator Favola.
Thank you.
Senator Peake.
Okay, I didn't want to jump the gun. They told me I was next, but I figured I better wait for Mr. Chairman to call me up. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Here on my Senate Bill 1038, which is a very simple bill and very common sense. You know, I just kind of would like to make sure that people who are registering to vote in Virginia are actually Virginia citizens and the people that they say they are. It's kind of funny. I've noticed that if the administration or the department doesn't like my bill, or if a certain committee doesn't like my bill, it comes back with this huge financial impact statement, which is how it ended up in this committee. We have Social Security verification forms. They can do it through the DMV, they can do it through the Social Security Administration. But somehow, to do something as simple as check a name at a computer when the registrar's putting all the information together is going to cost millions and millions of dollars. It shocks me, but let me just say this about that. Whatever the financial impact statement is on that, think about what we spend on our elections. Go back to Terry McAuliffe. He spent $30 million on his campaign. I don't know what Cuccinelli spent. Northam spent close to $30 million on his campaign. The 22nd district seat in 2011, each candidate spent almost $1 million. Think about all the elections we've got coming up, the hundreds of millions of dollars that are going to be spent on the presidential elections. And we're talking about less than $1 million to make sure that people who register to vote in the Commonwealth of Virginia are actually citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia and are actually the people that they say they are. That's my bill. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Senator Peake. Questions from the committee? You have anyone here to speak in favor of this?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, how about some reaction from from anyone who may be opposed or the Department of Elections? Anybody? Got a sleeper here.
They must love it.
The Senator Peake, as we were previewing bills, we had looked at the possibility of maybe a delayed effective date. Did we actually draw up anything for that? You do?
Oh.
Okay, what would that be?
Well, that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
The amendment would be to delay the effective date until July 1, 2021.
That sounds like a beautiful amendment.
Okay.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, is there a second to that? Any discussion of that amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, that removes it from our current budget cycle, but it puts it in place so people could prepare for it.
That's why you guys are on finance, because you're a lot smarter than I am.
No, I wouldn't say that. We are here though, but all right. No further conversation. What's the pleasure of the committee? Did you move to report or?
Move to report as amended.
Motion properly supported to report the bill, that is Senate Bill 1038 as amended. For discussion, hearing none, clerk open the roll. Clerk. Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is reported.
I'm so pleasantly surprised.
All right.
Thank you, Mr.
You don't even want to take up your next bill then, I guess.
Do I have another one down here? I've had several for the afternoon.
I'm
While
not
y'all
sure.
are in a good mood. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any other patrons? Senator Edwards, did you have another one, or is that just waiting to see if Senator Vogel shows up? Yeah, okay. All right, we've got, let's go ahead with, any member have a bill ready to go? We've got some, Senator Newman? Okay, all right. Yeah, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 1256. This bill is before you at the request of one of the property owners that is in the right-of-way for one of the proposed gas lines, pipelines. They are not happy about losing family property that their family has been in their family for generations. They can and will lose the property for what may or may not be fair financial compensation. What this bill does is treat this compensation not as income, but instead as compensation for the loss of an asset. They cannot replace that land. This is what we do when we get a check from the insurance company for an automobile or house fire. We treat it as a reimbursement of that loss, not as income. I ask you to look favorably upon the bill.
Okay, thank you, Senator Ruff. Do you have anyone here to speak in favor of this bill, or?
I doubt it.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry, I do.
there you go.
I think there's more that stepped out. NFIB and the ag groups were going to, but they must have stepped out of the room. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Steve Rossi. I represent the Family Foundation, representing families, small family business owners and farm owners around the Commonwealth. And we strongly support this bill and thank Senator Ruff for bringing it. The emphasis should be on the just part of just compensation, because when someone gets, when there's a necessary project for the government to undertake, they have to take property, we all understand that. They get a trade, really. It's not really a profit or a sale, it's the equal value of the land. So they're getting, government's getting the land and the owner's getting the money, that's the value of the land. So it shouldn't be treated as income and taxed. It's not a profit. It's basically just a fair trade. So under the current law, with the government, taxing the just compensation, the owner is getting hit twice. He's losing the property, and then he's not even getting the fair trade, because with the money being taxed, it's ends up less than the value that he's been given. And then, as far as the fiscal impact, as I like to say, you can't put a price on a fundamental right, and property ownership is a fundamental right in our Constitution, in the Virginia Constitution. And actually, Senator Ruff had a great analogy. You can use your analogy you told me yesterday?
I did with
The insurance? Okay, I didn't hear that. So that's a great analogy, and we fully support the bill, and thank you for your time.
Okay, other testimony in support?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, briefly, Andrew Smith, Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Obviously, our members have a considerable amount of land, and this isn't a sale that they wish to do, so they have unexpected increase when this sale is done. So we hope you support the bill.
Thank you. Are there anyone here to? Okay. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? Is there one here from the tax department? They're over there hiding. All right.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Kristen Collins hiding behind the column
Okay,
over there.
you were hiding. Thank you.
Sure.
Unknown fiscal impact. What do you have any idea of what this would do?
We do not. It's an income subtraction. So basically, the revenue impact per taxpayer would be, their effective tax rate, roughly 5.75% of what they're subtracting, the total income.
Right.
But no, we don't have any data that we could find on, how many of these take place in the property values. We weren't able to find that data.
Okay. That kind of answers it. There may be more activity because of current circumstances with eminent domain projects right now than we've had in the past. Senator Ruff, one question that came up in our discussion, and I was wondering what your reaction to that be. I know you're trying to look out for individual property owners. It would also, as drafted, apply to corporations, businesses, which sometimes are in the business of speculating, buying properties close to developing areas, interchanges on the interstate, and things of that sort that may, strategically buy property that would then eventually be a subject of a condemnation. Would you have any problem if we were able to draw this in a way that it would not apply to businesses and corporations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd be delighted for that to happen.
Okay.
My concern is, say a family bought it in the 20s, and the value of that property then may have been $100 or $20 an acre.
Sure.
And now it's going to be sold for
A lot.
a lot.
Right, a lot.
A lot
Okay.
more.
Right.
Relative.
Lisa, would that be something that we could draft?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. It would be a simple substitute, so the remaining portion of the bill would be the amendments to 581322.02, and we would remove 581402 from the bill.
Okay. We have, I guess, is there a couple people that want to speak to that potential amendment?
Not to the amendment, but I would move that amendment.
Okay.
Well, Nicole Riley with NFIB, we support the underlying bill, although I think I am a bit concerned now if you're taking out businesses. For a lot of small business owners, that they're not in that kind of business. I want to make sure that we're not, that does not include us.
Okay. Lisa, would you address that?
Mr. Chairman, the amendment, as I just described, would remove those paying corporate income tax from the bill, but not paying individual income tax.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Let me follow up on that. If it's a C Corp, a lot of farms are now held in a corporation just for their safety reasons.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I would join in that concern. A lot of farmers and others own land in an LLC. I don't know if that would be affected, but I suspect it might. A lot of people are incorporated for purposes of liability protection, if nothing else, and they are a family farmer.
And most of those are subchapter S, is that correct?
I can't speak to that, but I suspect that's true. Mr. Chairman, I don't know. I like the senator's bill, and it was just kind of dawned on me while we were sitting here. If you're concerned about the impact to the budget, and I know it's uncertain, I know in the land conservation credits, the General Assembly has placed a cap on how much the budget could take a hit on. Maybe that's a consideration to say, to not exclude businesses, but to say, you know, it can only be so much in one year that the General Assembly could absorb, much like you did with land conservation credits, tax credits.
Mr. Chairman, another possible way to deal with it would be to say that it had to have been bought in the period before the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm. That'd be an option. Lisa, you had a comment on when we were trying to refine this a bit. Does that, have you?
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, and it might be that perhaps we might want to take the bill by for the day and work on this offline, but right now, if we left the exemption in 33.2.02, it would apply to individuals, partnerships, LLCs, S corporations, and then the provision in 58.1.402 would apply to more traditional corporations. So, but I don't know if maybe we need to go back and just try to revisit that it's residential property or it's, I don't know, this is raising a lot of
Okay,
questions.
right. But Senator Ruff, I think your notion of the 10-year look back may be something that would be very helpful to it in terms of not something recently acquired. Do you want us to work on it a little more? You want to, we can spend a couple minutes right now if you want to hash it out, but we can let it go by and get with Lisa.
We can let it go by.
Okay. All right. Without objection,
Either
we'll pass this by at least temporarily, and then we'll revisit it. Do you have another one, Senator Ruff? I thought you had another one. Maybe not.
The subcommittee dealt with 116.
Oh, it's on the subcommittee report?
And when we're going to, because we're trying to negotiate with the House to come up with one compromise, would be better off to wait till next week.
Okay. All right. Senator Newman.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I have Senate Bill 1213. Mr. Chairman, 1213 came to us from the School Safety Committee that met over the interim. It is one of about 13 bills. This one relates to case management tools. This bill was heard in Education and Health and approved, sent to you guys. The fiscal impact, I think it indicates that the money has been placed into the budget. The bill in general, as you'll see on line 14, we've set up the Center for School and Campus Safety. They have been doing a lot of work, including anti-bullying and conflict management, peer mitigation, and a number of other items. This basically asks them to set up a case management tool, which is an online type of tool that will be able to collect and report the data.
Okay. And the money is in the introduced budget. Is there anyone here to speak in support of this? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Jay Deck with the Virginia Education Association. We certainly support anything that deals with school safety. We feel like students and educators going into the school environment deserve to be safe. So we thank Senator Newman for this bill and support it highly.
Okay, thank you. Others to speak to the bill? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? This does have an appropriation figure in the general fund of a little over $700,000. I'm inclined to let it go without the clause if we have, if we've got a consensus on that. What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1213. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Clerk close the roll. Whoops, excuse me. I got to hit this. There we go.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Senator Newman. Other patrons, let's so we can be clear, let's go ahead and take up our subcommittee reports, and that'll clear some of the bills, and then we may have a member bill or two to move forward. Senator Newman, would you like to chair this momentarily? I've got a report from the HHR subcommittee.
Okay. Senator Hanger.
I guess for subcommittee reports, we can just do them from the dais.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what we'll do. The first one up is on the subcommittee report is Senate Bill 1000. Senator Stanley's bill, which we've seen in previous years, which would provide TANF scholarship pilot programs for certain areas where there's certain demonstrated need. The recommendation of the subcommittee is to add the clause and to report. So I would move that we add the financial contingency clause to Senate Bill 1000.
There's a motion and a second that Senate Bill 1000 get the clause. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, and that is approved. Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that Senate Bill 1000 be reported as amended.
There's a motion that Senate Bill 1000 be reported as amended. All those in favor will record your votes aye. Those opposed, no. And the clerk will close the roll. 16-0, the bill is reported. Senator Hanger.
Thank you. Senator Barker has Senate Bill 1283 dealing with the state medical facilities plan revisions. We do have an amendment to add the clause to that. Lisa, was that the only amendment, the clause? Okay, and I would move that.
Okay. This motion is second that we put the clause on 1283. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the amendment is agreed to. Senator Hanger.
Okay. And unless Senator Barker has anything else to say, I would move the bill be reported.
There's a motion and a second that Senate Bill 1283 be reported. All those in favor record your vote aye.
Aye.
The clerk will close the roll. Aye 16-0. The bill is reported. Senator Hanger.
Thank you. The remaining bill is Senate Bill 1485, which was my bill on long-term and extended support services. There was an amendment proposed. There was some discussion of membership of a review committee that we were putting in statute, and there is a simple amendment. Lisa, could you report the amendment?
Yes, sir. There's actually three simple amendments.
Okay.
On line 56, after services, strike organization and insert organizations, plural. The same change on line 57. And then on line 68, after on, insert policy, funding, and.
Okay.
We've heard the amendments. Is there a motion on amendments?
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that the amendments be agreed to. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, and the amendments are agreed to. Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Then, with those amendments, I would move that Senate Bill 1485 be reported as amended.
There's a motion that the bill be reported. All those in favor will record your votes aye. Those opposed, no. And the clerk will close the roll. Aye 16-0. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Senator Newman. That completes the report of HHR. Do you have an education report?
I do, yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we heard a number of bills. The first one is Senate Bill 1506, which is Senator Carrico's bill. First, before we get into it, there's an amendment for the bill. Will clerk please report the amendment?
Mr. Chairman, on line 21, after division, strike in the event that the council approves and insert when the council, the nationally recognized regional accreditation body, and the programmatic accreditation body approve.
I move the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Motion properly supported. That amendment to Senate Bill 1506, which is technical in nature, be approved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that amendment is adopted.
Mr. Chairman, this is the Radford University bill, the authority to establish the division in Roanoke. We have looked into the measure. There is the introduced budget has the $1.7 million. I would say that most of you have heard about this bill. It not only allows for most of the degree programs to move to Radford, but also the Western Community College is picking up a number of those items as well. Mr. Chairman, I think this is a tremendous move forward, and I would hope that we report the bill, and I so move.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second to that motion? Second. Motion properly supported that Senate Bill 1506 be reported. And we would not add the...
No, sir. We decided not to.
Decided not to?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, open the roll. Ayes 15, noes 0. The bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, the next bill is Senate Bill 1495, Senator Chafin's bill related to the Virginia Rural Information Technology Apprenticeship Grant Program. There's a line amendment, and I would ask Lisa to please report the line amendment.
Mr. Chairman, on line 46, after basis, insert from such funds as may be available.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify on the amendment makes it very clear that this is not going to be necessarily state funds. They've got donations and other items to help them with this, and the amendment basically removes any need for the clause, and I would
Okay.
move the amendment.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Second to the motion? Okay. All those in favor of the amendment which basically indicates from funds that may be available, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that amendment is adopted.
Mr. Chairman, in regards to the bill now as amended, this is an opportunity for those in Southwest Virginia, especially with a very large corporation down there, to establish this education program and most likely do it without our help. But I will say that there is an opportunity if it's determined that we would like to assist and we see success, we could do it. Mr. Chairman, I would hope that we will report the bill, and I so move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1495 as amended. Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 16, no zero.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, the next bill is Senate Bill 1412, Senator Mason's bill. This is an education grant program. It basically increases the number of years of commitment up to 3 years, and also indicates that the individuals that will be in the program do have the ability to get some of the non-degree credentialing workforce degrees. Mr. Chairman, we did see that it does have a potential fiscal impact, and as a result, there was a motion that we attach the clause, and I would so move.
Motion properly supported to attach the financial contingency clause. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amendment is attached.
Mr. Chairman, as most of you know, there is some money in the budget to do this, so hopefully we can find the money and assist with the National Guard in these educational grants, and I would move that the bill be reported.
Okay, is there a second? Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1412 as amended. Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 16, no zero.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, the next bill, Senate Bill 1386, Senator McDougall's bill. This is a bill that we've all been working on for a good while, James Madison University's management agreement. This bill basically moves them up from a 2.5 to a 3.0 as regards to their ability to take action. There has been, not an amendment, but incorporated into the bill, an indication that the Commonwealth will retain the revenues for the bonding capability for Aubrey and his group. Mr. Chairman, they have met all the requirements that are needed to be a Level 3 institution, and so the recommendation of the subcommittee is that to report the bill, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion properly supported to report the bill. See someone out there with a purple tie. Charlie, you got anything to say? Or you good? All right. Clerk, open the roll. Cast your votes.
Ayes 16, no zero.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, the next bill, Senate Bill 1173, this comes to us from Senator McPike and Senator Stewart. Those two bills have been rolled together in the Education and Health Committee related to Virginia military survivors and dependents. Mr. Chairman, we have looked at this bill a number of times and approved it. It's never made it quite all the way through. Once again, we would need to put the clause on the bill to ensure that we have the funding to take care of it, and I would so move the clause.
Motion properly supported to add the financial contingency clause. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the clause is added.
Mr. Chairman, the bill really looks like it has in the past in regards to military survivors and dependents, and it basically adds all of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines also to the program. And Senator Stewart, I don't know if you have any more to add, sir, but you've worked on this for years.
Very good bill, Mr. Chairman. I hope we can find the money this year.
All right. Thank you, Senator Stewart.
So we recommended we report Senate Bill 1173, and I so move.
Is there a second? Second. Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1173 as amended. Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll.
16 no zero.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, the last bill we considered was Senate Bill 1617, Senator Ruff, but I think that he is, as he mentioned earlier, still working with House and others, and I would move that that bill go by for the day.
Is there a second? Second. Motion properly supported to pass Senate Bill 1173 by for the day. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That bill is passed by for the day.
Mr. Chairman, that completes the report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, did we have other committee reports today? Got a bill. Senator Stewart? Yes. We want to clear the docket. You got a couple? Okay. We'll.
That's the last bill.
No, we've got a couple more member bills.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I've got Senate Bill 1205. See if I can boil this down. It deals with trust and estates, which can become too complicated at times. What this bill does is it puts us in the same line as other states, the same playing field, so that we're not at a disadvantage for people administering trusts in Virginia. And it changes, I guess, the definition of a resident trust to the extent that you would not have to file a tax return for a trust that's being administered by a Virginia agent unless you actually have to pay taxes. And currently, you would have to file that return. I don't know why, even if you don't have to pay any Virginia taxes on that trust. And this just puts us in line with other states so we don't lose administration of these trusts. There's an indeterminate fiscal hit. I really don't understand why, because you still would be paying taxes if you owed taxes. I guess there's a filing fee that we lose. I don't know. Maybe staff can tell us why.
Okay. Cecil, do you have a thought on that, or should we just require tax? Just indicate, is there a problem with this?
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman. Kristen Collins from the Tax Department. There's not a problem with it. The reason there could be a fiscal impact is that resident trusts are taxed differently than non-resident trusts. So if you're a resident trust, generally you're taxed on all your income. If you're considered a non-resident trust, then you're only taxed on income from Virginia sources. This is one that this bill addresses one piece of what would deem a trust to be a Virginia resident trust. It's one that we've had a lot of rulings on. There's been a little bit of uncertainty. For example, something could be administered in Virginia if you have trustees in multiple different states, and we have rules that have kind of tried to narrow this a little bit. So we think it's probably a pretty narrow category of resident trust, but we just don't have any data on that.
Okay, but it potentially could be helpful, apparently.
Excuse me?
Helpful. It would be helpful, perhaps.
Sure, it'd probably be helpful to the people administering the
Right,
trust,
administering,
definitely,
right,
yes.
which
And it would clarify that issue.
Right, okay. But not a big impediment for you all. Okay.
It keeps us from being at a disadvantage for having trust administered so that they all don't go to Delaware or somewhere else, I guess is.
Okay. Very
that
good.
extent.
Any questions of the committee on that? Anyone here to speak for or against this particular measure in Senate Bill 1205?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Matt Brittany with the Virginia Bankers Association. Appreciate Senator Stewart's work on this bill. As was mentioned, under the current definition of resident trust or estate, there's kind of four prongs. This is eliminating one that has the least amount of nexus with the work being done in Virginia. And again, the fiscal impact is indeterminate. We're one of 18 states that applies the tax in this way, and trust businesses and folks that are doing trust work are smart. They know where those states are that are most advantageous. We've got a very good legal framework for trusts, and that's because of the General Assembly. But as you're looking at the tax treatment of it, this is a way that we can hopefully, to Senator Stewart's point, maintain and bring more trust administration business here in the Commonwealth. We urge you to support the bill.
Okay, all right. Others to speak for or against? I think that provides some clarity to the bill. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Second.
Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1205. Further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll.
Roll is open.
Cast your votes. Okay, clerk close the roll.
16 no zero.
16, no zero. The bill is reported. Thank you, Senator Stewart. Senator McDougall.
Chairman, 1610, this comes from the Virginia State Bar Wills Trust and Estate section. Mr. Chairman, this is, apparently there's been some confusion in this space right now. If a person passes, then the property is distributed under the will, there's still oftentimes a deed to transfer that to the beneficiaries, but this is not a sale action. This is as a result of date of death, and this clarifies that there's no recordation tax for those deeds of distribution. I think some jurisdictions are saying that's right, some not, and this makes it crystal clear that what the rules are with that. And tax is here, and they indicate that this would have no impact on revenues. This is just to ensure clarity through all our 100-plus jurisdictions.
Okay, do we have someone to?
There's people to talk if you want them to talk, and
Okay,
they can sit
just a
down
quick
if you're
statement
good.
to say who's supporting this.
Sure. Jeff Palmer with Reed Smith on behalf of the Virginia Bar Association. This comes from our Wills Trust and Estate section. We have an attorney from our section who practices in this area that's happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
Okay, thank you. I believe we're good. Staff just pointed out we may need a technical amendment. Lisa, what would that be?
Mr. Chairman, this actually has nothing to do with the substance of the bill, but as you can see, there's a section in the bill set out twice, 581811, that was set out twice because of the WMATA bill last year, and that is since we drafted this bill, we found out those contingencies did go into effect. So I would just need to draft a substitute
Perfect.
to
I move that substitute.
Is there a second? Motion properly supported for that technical amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone here speak in opposition to this bill? What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1610 as amended. Clerk, open the roll.
Can you get me?
Okay. There we go. Clerk, cast your votes.
Newman.
Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported. Senator McDougall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Senate Bill 1615. This is, I think, a policy decision, Mr. Chairman. Right now, as the committee might remember, approximately 12 years ago, we put in place the first back-to-school sales tax holiday, and that was my first year in this body, and it was with the help of former Delegate Harry Parrish. And Mr. Chairman, since that time, our economy has changed dramatically, and we've seen that change move even at a more exponential rate with the Wayfair case that came through this year. Mr. Chairman, right now, the states surrounding us have the ability for retailers to absorb the sales tax. So if they go out to advertise selling TVs, and they're selling, 4K 50-inch TVs, and they will make those sales at $1,000 a piece, and that the retailer will pay the sales tax. So no impact to the Commonwealth. If you go to states surrounding Virginia, you can buy that TV in that state without paying sales tax. But in Virginia, there's no ability to do that. So without a change allowing a business, if they so desire, it's not mandatory, to be able to absorb that tax, we're really putting Virginia residents at a disadvantage from being able to purchase items on the open market, which is much more than the bricks and mortar we traditionally had. And so that was the impetus of this bill. Mr. Chairman, I tried to convince Senator Ruff to put this into his Wayfair bill, but I think I was a little late getting to him to convince him to do that. And there are individuals here to speak, but I think it is strictly a policy decision. If we want to allow the payment of the sales tax by the business, if they want to offer that as an incentive to customers.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator Siselaw.
I would hope, Senator McDougall, that you don't think that they haven't put that sales price in the price of the product. That sales tax.
Mr. Chairman, they would have to put the sales price, and then they would have to say, we're going to pay the sales tax. And
I
that's listed
understand,
at.
but the price of that is probably that sales tax is probably in the price.
Mr. Chairman, I would tell Senator Saslaw, I don't disagree in their overall market pricing, but the challenge is
No, I
when we
understand what
have
you're saying.
jurisdictions that are adjacent to
Right.
us doing it differently, you can buy that TV and ship it to an address right across the 14th Street Bridge, and the retailer can send that without sales tax to the customer because they're paying for it. But if you send it to it on our side of the Potomac, then it has to pay the sales tax. So it's the same item. And clearly retailers doing this for a competitive advantage. They think that they can sell them cheaper. And from a policy
Right.
direction, Virginia should
I don't
be
think
making
that's what
sure
I'm
that
saying.
our constituents have the opportunity to make
What I'm saying,
purchases.
they're not saving any money. I had somebody tell me they bought a TV from one of those discount stores that in Maryland that advertised no sales price, and the price was $30 higher than it was in Virginia, plus they had to schlep over there and sit on bumper-to-bumper traffic on that Veterans Bridge. So they didn't save anything.
But Mr. Chairman, I would tell Senator Saslaw.
Oh, but they
it
didn't
costs-
pay any sales tax.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I would tell Senator Saslaw, it cost Virginia $30 worth of sales tax because somebody was willing to schlep over there and increase the traffic. You might have picked up a little bit of gas tax, but probably not enough to offset the sales tax.
Senator Obenshain?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around this. So if a Virginia retailer is trying to compete with that Maryland guy selling the TV for $1,000 and he wants to absorb the sales tax, wouldn't he just advertise it at $940 and he gets the advantage in advertising anyway? So I'm not sure that I see the competitive advantage.
Okay. You said you have some people that
Mr.
want
Chairman,
to
we
speak to it?
do. Yes.
Okay.
Let me just talk about that. So
Create an option.
Every sales.
Tell them who you are.
Oh, sorry. Alex Shadley with Petro Strategies. So I would just say that every retailer in their marketing scheme obviously has a baseline, right? It costs them $1,000. They have to sell it at $1,000 and a penny. Right now, General Motors is having an employee sales, but we all react differently to various sales and online sales. One of the reasons that retailers suggested for the Wayfair decision was that people are going online to avoid paying the sales tax. Here's Fry's. It's a California company. It's in about 12 states in the West and Midwest. They write, we know you don't like paying sales taxes, and we'll pay them for you, right? So when you go online, you're not going to go to Maryland knowing that you're still going to pay $1,000 whether you buy it here or there, right? You're going to shop and you're going to find out what's the best price. And if indeed at the end of the line, you're going to get whatever deal, whether it's services, whether it's goods, whether it's locality, and you're going to come up with a decision on this. And so the point is that Maryland or California, or as folks go online, as Wayfair comes online, just about every legislature is going to deal with a remote sales tax this year. This is going to be part of their marketing play. And you're just giving retailers an opportunity to have another arrow in their quiver to attract a sales pitch to folks who would be interested in not paying the sales tax.
Okay.
Oh, they're paying it.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone in opposition? Just a quick statement from tax. Does this create any logistical problems?
Hi, Kristen Collins again. No, sir, it doesn't create any
Okay.
problems for it.
Okay.
The bill would require that the retailer separately state the sales tax from the
Okay.
price on the
All
receipt
right.
still.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think we understand the issue. It is kind of a, whether you like this notion or not. It occurs to me, following up on Senator Saslaw and Senator Obenshain's comments, that we could actually make money off of this. If an item is $10, I mean, the state could make money off this. If an item is $10 and you choose to absorb the sales tax, that's 53 cents, all right? If you decide to be competitive, you reduce your price by 53 cents and sell it for $9.47, whatever, then we actually collect less sales tax, a couple pennies. So,
Mr. Chairman, I was just in closing, I think we're it's, when you think about it, that's an actual real
Right,
math
right.
equation
Right.
works, but the reality is people's behaviors
sales, right,
is
right,
psychological.
right, right.
And so an
Okay.
individual will go across the border, they think they're saving
Right.
money, even if they're not
Uh-huh.
actually doing it. And Virginia has the chance to lose out
Right.
on that revenue because we'll otherwise be eligible to collect it, which we weren't at one point. And now people will go to another state because they think they're getting an advantage even if they're not.
Right. Okay. What's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a motion to report? Motion properly supported to report Senate Bill 1615. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk open the roll. Anybody got Senator or clerk close the roll? Ayes 16, no zero. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Chairman.
Senator
Members of
McDougal.
the committee.
Other members with bills? April, we clear? I do. Hmm?
What are you doing to us?
1471, what is that? Oh. The, I have a bill, Senate Bill 1471, I'd just like to pass by for the day.
Good.
Yeah, so moved. I can tell it's a good bill when you don't like it. All those in favor of passing that bill by for the day signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
This is called the screw Fairfax.
Okay, Senator Edwards? Senator Edwards? We'll see whether persistence pays off. Hey, your bill?
For the fourth time. Senate Bill 1301, this is the one that allows the treasurers of any locality with the approval of the locality. It already provides that they may employ private collection agents to collect a local tax after notification and 3 months goes by. This would simply add the words or other amounts due to the locality that remain delinquent after the 3-month period. So they can collect both the tax and other amounts, and there are a bunch of amounts that are owed localities for a lot of things like false alarms, cigarette stamps, return checks. There's a laundry list of things. So it could be done in one lawsuit rather than waiting 6 months. That's what it does.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Vogel?
Hey, Senator Edwards, will you just clarify how this is different than the bill that I think we thought was identical, which was your Senate Bill 822 previously? This is very different than that bill which we defeated.
Only in the sense that last year, the sheriff had the sheriffs involved in another section, and they didn't like it for some reason.
Right.
So that's not there.
But that's not there.
And there's
Thank
no
you.
opposition. The Treasurers Association is 100% behind it.
Okay. Senator Edwards, just for clarification, the impact of this bill would be for you to be able to put private collection agencies on this 3 months sooner than you currently can?
Right. Now they have to wait 6 months. That's the difference.
Okay. That's the essence of the bill.
That's the essence of the bill.
Okay. Discussion? Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill? Obviously, you would have Roanoke County Treasurer previously.
Roanoke City,
She was
rather.
here
earlier, and there were the Treasurers Association.
Treasurers Association supports it? Okay. Members of the committee, what are your thoughts?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Newman?
Mr. Chairman, as much as I'd like to support Roanoke County, it's the 3 months and the moving up of the opportunity to go to collections that is problematic for me. So I voted no in the past, and I hope you will this time.
Okay. The other comments is we had a motion, I believe we had a motion properly supported to report. So that is the motion. Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 9, nays 7.
Ayes 9, nays 7. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm getting the hell out of here as fast as I can.
You better, because we haven't figured out yet how that happened. So you better move. Okay, April, is that clear? Okay, that does clear the docket. I would say to our members that do have a Revenue Resources Subcommittee that's meeting after session today to wade through the bills that have been presented to us dealing with revenue resources. It was the intent that we would just hear bills quickly so we could kind of get organized with those, and that we would probably, not probably, we will have a special meeting tomorrow, Thursday afternoon in our 4 o'clock time frame. 4:30 time frame.
Subcommittee meeting?
Beg your pardon?
Where's the subcommittee meeting?
Fifth floor. And with no further business, committee will rise.